Welcome to another exciting episode of Fight and Sight, the podcast that brings you all the latest news, updates, and analysis from the world of mixed martial arts. I'm your co-host for the day, the Alanimal, and today we talk to a legend, discuss Connor's return, and a whole lot more. Tim, hit it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Fight Insight Podcast.
All right, our guest today just tied the record for the most knockouts in UFC history with 13, has the most finishes in welterweight history with 15, the most bouts in welterweight history with 30, is a 9-time bonus award winner and was a contestant on Tough Season 7 in 2008. He owns the Immortal Martial Arts Center in Ohio, is the co-founder of Immortal Coffee, and is one of the only fighters to have his own custom-made ring song entrance. A future Hall of Famer for sure, and definitely someone I say has the attitude, style, and personality and demeanor to be in talks for a BMF title shot. Where the hell is that? Everybody, please welcome to the podcast, Matt the Immortal Brown.
Yeah,
Matt, how are you?
Guys.
Hey, how are you, Matt?
Very good, man. Very good.
Awesome. Congratulations on your win and for tying the record, Matt. That is a huge accomplishment, my friend.
Yeah, it's not easy, man, especially in these lower weight classes. So I feel like, it's going to be hard to beat Derek Lewis, man. So, and he's still out there actively fighting. So, we're going to see how he does.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that he does not get the knockout. I like Derek Lewis. So I hope he wins, but I don't want him to get a knockout, man. He's gonna make it hard on me.
I was saying to Timmy too. I was looking up your knockout reel on YouTube, and most people's it's like 30 seconds, 40 seconds. Yours is 4.5 minutes of you knocking people out. So, my question was, what was your favorite knockout? I really liked the Diego Sanchez elbow was just like beautiful. But for you, what do you think was your favorite knockout so far?
You actually cut out a little bit, but I heard the end. You said, what was your favorite knockout? So, God, I don't know. There's so many to choose from.
There really are. There really are so many to choose from.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I don't know. They're all pretty good. It's hard to say the Diego Sanchez knockout isn't my favorite because that was like the most brutal and legendary knockout. And I'm not even trying to toot my own horn, but when I watch it, I'm like, oh shit, that was heavy.
Yeah, it was a crazy one, Matt. I appreciate that you're saying like you and Derek Lewis now competing for it. I saw that you did challenge Derek Lewis to a fight.
I think it'd be awesome, right? Like, let's go for the knockout record against each other. I think it'd be a lot of fun, man. Like I said, I don't know how I would beat Derek Lewis. Like, he's a big dude, and if I got hit once, I'm sure my lights would be out and he'd have the record. But I would like to make him earn it. Like, you got to beat the knockout king to be the knockout king. Same for me. If I want it, I got to go earn it.
Yep, that's right, Matt. Now, one thing that I thought was pretty cool. We're going to talk about it in a little bit, but the world sucks. People on the internet are horrible. But yet, when you tweeted back at Connor saying, I'll fight you for it, you got a lot of love online with people liking that call out and saying that that was a good fight. Must have made you feel good to see people in your corner.
Yeah. Connor's not really on a lot of people's good side right now. So, yeah, I think it'd be fun, man. Like I said right after, I don't know if he's ever even going to fight again, but I'm not totally convinced yet. And I didn't even mean it to be anything crazy. It's like, dude, same with Derek Lewis, right? It's like, dude, if you want it, like, let's fight for it. Like, that's what we do, right? That's what we do for a living. Let's go.
Yeah, it's crazy, Matt. I can't believe that I've been watching you since 2008. Like, when I look back to go like, wait a second. And I have to scroll and scroll on your Wikipedia to like go down all your UFC fights. It's crazy that you've been in this game so long. One of our friends of the podcast is a page called @MMA Social Squad. They were asking, at what point in your career, maybe this was before, did you know you had made it?
I still don't feel like I made it. You know, I think that's part of what keeps me young. I mean, I don't know. You know, you'd have to define made it. I mean, yeah, the only time I guess I kind of felt that way is when I won my fight to get on the Ultimate Fighter. That was like, you know, like what a freaking nerve-wracking experience, man. That was just absolutely the most intense day of my life. And, you know, and it's so crazy is that they didn't, when they brought us out for the show, that was the year that they surprised everyone. They didn't tell us that we were going to be fighting to get on the show. So we were a little bit surprised. And, you know, I was fighting probably the biggest guy there. And it was at 185, right? I'm a 170 fighter. And like, I didn't even cut weight to make 185. And they put a guy who probably walked in the cage at like 210 or 215 or something against me. And he was also like Rampage's boy. But they actually had him in Forest corner, right? Because they randomly chose corners. So I had both corners against me. I'm in this tiny room, you know, it's like a production studio where they filmed the Ultimate Fighter. And we got, you know, both corners against me. Like Dana White's here. Like, this is the fork in the road in my life. Like, either, you know, I mean, I know the history, like you don't win to get on or, you know, you lose on Ultimate Fighter. You know, most people's lives change and they don't ever get in the UFC, or they have a, you know, long road to get in the UFC, especially back then. And you win that fight and your life has changed forever. So I knew what the stakes were at the time. So, you know, we talk about like feeling like you made it. That was probably the only time I truly felt like I made it. I was like, you know, took a sigh of relief. Walked in the house and it's like on to the next.
Yeah, it's crazy, Matt. But I mean, you're killing it. You're still, you know, at the top of the game, still putting on amazing shows, and people love you. I did want to ask the reason why, you know, one of the main reasons why I wanted to have you on the podcast is not your last win, is not the tied record, but it's about just your overall outlook on life. Every time I see an interview with you, I really appreciate what you say, and I like the things that you talk about. But you posted a recent clip, and I put it on my Instagram. And for people that didn't see it, you know, go over to Matt's Instagram and you can check it out. And Matt, just sorry for people that don't know. So Matt, you can find him at I am the immortal on Instagram. So the video is there, Matt, and it's a video of Jordan Peterson. For those that don't know, he's a Canadian psychologist, lecturer, media commentator, famous for, you know, being on podcasts on the Joe Rogan podcast. He's been there. Controversial perhaps in some of the things he says. But the clip that you put on there, Matt, was he was talking about people not needing to be weak and naive and harmless, encouraging people to have the capacity for danger and the capacity for self-control, about how martial arts teaches this, about, you know, that you should be a formidable force, but be able to control it to prepare you for the world ahead. It was a great clip. I really liked it. The comments on your page were kind of split. A lot of people really loving it. A lot of people having a problem with it. I just wanted to ask you, what was your reason for putting that on your Instagram? Like, what about that clip spoke to you?
I don't know. You know, it just touched me, man. I was like, I just feel like there's not enough promotion of strength in our society now. Like, so much of the influences, like I have 3 kids myself that, you know, and I see so much of what they're seeing and the world that they're growing up in is not promoting strength. And, you know, don't promote violence necessarily, but at least the ability to have that in you and protect your family and protect your damn self at minimum. You know, it's just not being promoted. And, you know, it just spoke to me, man. And especially just having kids. I think that's really where it came from, because I can take care of myself, you know, so I'm not so worried about myself. But, you know, you just hear so many of these people. It's just disgusting, man. Like, these people should be ashamed of themselves. Like, these fat slobs and these fucking just weak people, and they're proud of it, and they're just happy to live their life the way they are. And it's like, bro, like you're only like, you're just lucky that this is like if this was the year, I don't know, 1200, like your fucking Gucci sweater would be mine. You know what I mean? I just walk over and take it from you. You know what I mean? Like, what would you do about it, right? Like, you're just fortunate that you're protected by, you know, the police and society in general, you know, and you can't just expect that that's always going to be there, right? We can't just expect that this is the way life is always going to be. Like, so I don't know. It's just fucking these weak people, man. Yeah, I just try to keep my kids away from them. Like, you don't need to be around that shit. Like, so yeah, it's just, you know, just trying to promote that mentality in life, man. And if I can, you know, my few 100,000 followers, whatever, if it helps that push that message out there a little bit, you know, Jordan Peterson says it way better than I can, so I'll just repost his shit.
No, I think, hey, no, and just even the way that you recounted it here, I want to respond to it a little bit. But Alana, I know that when I was talking to you about this and having Matt on, you said something about how you think people are learning that they don't need to be accountable.
Yeah. So something I really liked that you'd said before, Matt, that I saw on the Joe Rogan podcast is you said, I approach everything with savage intent. And I really like that because I feel like a lot of the time people think you either have to be someone who's physically strong or you can be intelligent, but you can't be both. And it's nice to see that you can really balance that. I was telling Timmy, like I was refereeing at a tournament a couple weeks ago and it was like OT rounds and this kid didn't escape in time. And I saw his coach after telling him like, you know, you totally won that. The ref just like called it too late. And I was thinking like, why wouldn't you tell your athlete, hey, you should have fought harder. You should have subbed him. You should have won, you know, you should have gone in there and run it rather than saying, oh, it's the ref's fault that you didn't win that. And it's just that accountability piece, man. Like that's what I find with today's society is no one wants to be accountable and no one wants to push themselves.
Yeah. And to add on to that, piggyback on it, you know, probably one of the best books I've ever read in my life is Jocko's Extreme Ownership. And
yes, love that book.
And it goes right back to what you're talking about, you know, like you're taking all the ownership away from that kid. What do you think that's going to do later in his life? He's going to be blaming everybody else for his problems that he created. And, you know, we fucking lose. Like, that's part of life. Like, you're going to lose. Now, but how are you going to handle that loss? And that kid's going to have a hard time handling that loss. You know, I mean, maybe he won't, you know, specific.
Or maybe it made it better that day. But like in the long run, like that kid needed to maybe take that loss, right? And maybe he'll come back stronger. But if he hears, you know, oh, it's not your fault, then why the fuck would he try and work harder next time, right? He just
yeah, exactly. Now he's got an excuse for losing, and you know he's going to carry that with him, and that again, you know, it's not a good thing. And you know, and the worst part for the coach is now if this kid actually does figure it out, now he's going to lose trust in his coach. Right? Let's say the kid figures it out on his own. Now he's not going to trust his coach. So now when his coach tells him the positive thing to do or the right thing to do, he's going to be thinking twice. Like, oh, this coach, he's just going to blame it on somebody else if I don't do it anyway. So, you know, hopefully the kid is able to, and, you know, he shouldn't trust his coach, you know?
Yeah, I think, Matt, too, that the clip that you put about Jordan Peterson, and there were a bunch of people that took a very aggressive, like, argument take on it, which I thought was really stupid, were people that were trying to not understand the message of it. Because, like, I also feel like what Jordan Peterson was talking about there was not just your physical strength or like your ability to fight, but it's about just your mentality, like your strength of character.
Standing up for yourself and
stand up for yourself, even just in terms of like in an argument, intellectually, like being able, or just being a strong person in general.
Absolutely. And it's just weak people arguing, you know, they're going to try to justify their own weakness. Of course, like they'd rather not put in the work to strengthen themselves and say, oh, well, you know, I'm as smart as Jordan Peterson, whatever. And, you know, it's sort of like, it reminds me of like how I teach the kids at my gym. Like one of the things I've kind of strayed away from, and, you know, some parents don't like that. And now that's not to say we don't do like anti-bullying but I don't like using that term because it's reactive. So like I tell the parents when they come in, like, your kid isn't going to have to anti anything, because when he walks down the hallway, he's going to have his chest puffed out, and this kid's going to, and the bully's going to walk right by him, and he's going to pick on the next kid, because the predator is going to look for prey, and your kid's not going to be a prey. So it's not going to be anti anything. We're going to be proactive about this, and get out a lot more in my gym. And there's other situations where, particularly online, where there is things where people need to be anti-bullying. But when you create that strength in the kid, they don't have to be anti anything. And it's just a reactive society that we live in, right? Everybody's reacting to something, and it's like, just live your own fucking life as a strong, proud, ripped, raw, rare, but relentless motherfucker. And you're not gonna have to deal with that shit. And to be fair, like, I got bullied in school, but guess what? I stood up for myself. I got my ass kicked a couple times. I stood up, and they didn't want to do it the second time, right? Like they knew, like, I was gonna fight back. Like, it wasn't it wasn't that I was as big as them or strong as them. It wasn't that I was some tough kid or anything. But when they found out that I was gonna stand up for myself and fight back, just look for prey. Like, that's literally all I did. I don't know how many times, like, I took the first ass kicking. It wasn't like bad, like you're in high school or junior high, like sometimes they do get bad, so I'm not taking away from any of those situations that happen, because they do happen, and each situation kind of needs to be dealt with on its own. But the point is, if these kids are just more proud and have something to be prideful about, and create more inner strength, and like you said, the mentality behind it, when the kid walks around with the right mentality, bullying will slow down immensely.
Yep.
Yeah, like I teach some self-defense workshops for women and kids, walking like warriors, and that's literally one of the first things we teach them is, like, look at your body language. Like, kids will come in with, like, hoodies, hands in their pockets, or they're on their phones. I'm like, your body language is telling me right away that you're not being aware of your surroundings, right? I'm saying if you're in, or even a grown adult, right? I see people, like, at bus stops, and they're just not looking. I'm like, someone can attack you so easily if you're not looking around, if you're not being conscious, if you're not presenting yourself to the world like someone who's confident.
Yeah, it's a perfect way to walk on the warriors. I like that. And it's like, if you walk around like a sheep, of course the wolves are going to attack you. Like what do you expect, right?
Yeah, no, exactly, Matt.
Some kids take it too far, and then they do, like, the Conor McGregor walk, and I'm like, okay, that's too much now. Now you're looking for a fight.
Yeah, that's right. That's the opposite. Matt, one of the things that I loved, it was a while ago, but it was when you had that special on MMA Junkie. It was you had that In Pursuit of Immortality. And if people haven't seen that interview with you on MMA Junkie, go on YouTube, check that out. In Pursuit of Immortality. It was a great interview, Matt, that you gave on that. And part of that is where you talked about your training of children at your gym, Immortal Gym. And you talked about your Warrior Kids program, and you talk about helping kids not, and I'm quoting, but helping the next generation not be pussies. And I really like that about you. And I like that the fact that training is going. So I did want to give an opportunity for you to say, like, how's that program going, and can people still get involved with it?
Oh yeah, it's still going. Yeah. We keep it going. We didn't even shut down during COVID. So, we're not stopping for no one. So that's actually a good point. I shut down for like less than a week when it first happened, right. Because we thought it was the fucking zombie apocalypse, right? No one knew what was happening. But what happened is one kid reached out to me, and he was like, dude, he's like, he talked about how he felt like killing himself, basically, and he was like a teenager, and he's like, I just, the gym is like all I have, like that's my escape. And I was like, that moment when he texted me and I read it, I was like, dude, I'm going in tomorrow, and I'm not shutting down for nothing. And if anybody that's ever had any experience being an entrepreneur and particularly owning a fucking martial arts gym, it's not the easiest thing, especially, I don't know, maybe it's just me saying this, but like as a UFC fighter, you know, a high profile MMA fighter, you know, we get tons of people in that are idiots, and like we get a lot of hassle with that. You know, it's actually, yeah, there's pros and cons, right? Um, you know, I've thought about multiple times, like, dude, like, I don't know if I want to do this, man. Like, if you've entrepreneured in anything, you understand what it is, you know, and you're just like, bro, like, what the hell? Like, this is way too much. Like, why am I doing all this? And then when you meet a kid like that, where you change his life, and like I talked about before, you're building these forks in kids' lives where they were going down a certain path, you know, and it was not a good path. And then you created a fork, and now, you know, maybe it's not the perfect path, but it's a much better path. And when you know that you're doing something like that, it's very fulfilling, and you stop caring about how much money you're making and stop caring about whether, you know, you're going to even get anything else out of this other than changing that kid's life. And that makes it all worth it.
Yeah, it's amazing, Matt. No, I'm glad that that program is still there. I'm glad that you continued it for the help of those people, because that's the thing, right? Martial arts changes so many people's lives. But it's not just about the martial arts, though, Matt. And I had some fan questions asked, and I'm not going to keep you much longer, Matt. We had some fan questions that were asking, are you going to be a motivational speaker? Because, and I do think, because you speak very well, but not only that, I did want to say, as I was researching for this podcast, Matt, I realized that you have a very good newsletter that comes out. And so for those of people that don't know about the newsletter, Matt Brown's newsletter is fantastic. It's got Immortal Wisdom Weekly. He ends it by saying, hope you appreciated the savage wisdom. The newsletters you put out, Matt, are fantastic. And that's all you writing that stuff? Like, that's just you going on?
No, I speak it and my guy writes it.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, but that's you, that's from your mind. Motivational speaking, Matt, is motivational speaking in your future?
I don't know. I've done it a couple of times, like at high schools and stuff. And maybe if I practice it, I'd be good at it. But like, I get more nervous for that than I do for fighting. I don't know. And I don't feel like I've done a good job in the past when I've been, you know, I don't know. You know, make me an offer, you know, be my publicist, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I've never really looked into it a ton. I've done it more as like charity for some people a few times. My biggest thing, like when I get nervous, I get nervous that I'm gonna like curse, like especially I speak to like elementary school kids, and I'm like, you guys need to quit being so soft. Like,
maybe we start with high school. We work down to the.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I ever did it, my aunt was a kindergarten or first grade teacher. I forget which one. And like, I was about to pee my pants. I was so nervous. I'm like, dude, you're speaking to like first graders. Like, what are you so nervous about? But, you know, getting up in front of people and speaking. Yeah. It's so strange. It's something that's certainly developed. Like, you have to practice it, you know, and, you know, people, if there was a market for it and people desired it, and I had the people that wanted it, the offers for it, then it's something I would certainly look into. But to be honest, I don't really get a lot of people asking me to do it.
No, but that might be because you haven't done it yet. I think once you start doing stuff like that and people see it, because Matt, like, well, I mean, we're talking about the Jordan Peterson talks and things like that. Like, he's famous because of his stance on things. I feel like you as well are like a strong individual, promoting strength, promoting, you know, standing up for yourself. That's the message that people need to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. You know, yeah, I agree. You know, I guess I'm kind of more just an action guy, you know, like I'm like, you know, I do the, you know, I kind of plan on starting my own podcast, which I've been talking about for like years now. I do the newsletter now, but I'm like, even in my own gym, I'm like, I don't want to be there like telling you to do these things. Like, watch me do it from the front. Like, I don't really get into too much like, you know, speaking what you should be doing. And I really hate telling people like what they should be doing. I don't like. I like to go do it. You know,
You lead by
even
example.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, man. It's like people, like even my own kids at my house. Like if they're not cleaning their room, I'm like, well, instead of just yelling at them to go clean the room, which I do end up having to do sometimes, but I'm like, this is what I'm doing. Is you guys, let's go. And a lot of times they start doing it. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes you'd be like, all right, motherfucker, to get done. But if I always feel like if I keep a clean home, I have a better chance of having cleaner kids, and they're going to keep their room clean. And I think I guess that's kind of a smaller analogy towards a larger thing. I'm like, if I my way of promoting strength is by being strong rather than speaking about it, and maybe that'll change one day. I don't know.
Well, that goes back to like we were talking about that ownership, right? You really walk your talk is what people know about you, and I think that's really cool. That's not something you can buy or something you can lie about. It's just something you do, and people know you for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how I aspire to live my life.
Yeah.
I think motivational speaking, when you talk about it particularly, it's a skill that's developed, and I certainly haven't developed that skill. So a lot of the right thoughts in my mind and stuff, but I think it's a skill that's developed, and it takes time. And again, if the opportunity was there, maybe I would look into it and attempt to develop that skill, but I haven't really had the opportunity so far.
Those opportunities are coming, Matt. Don't worry. Those opportunities are coming. And really it's like once you go on that speaking tour, once you do it once, you get the flow of it, and then it's going to come natural, man. I mean, every time I've seen you on the mic, every time I see you in an interview, like you speak very, very well. So it's not like you've got far to go. Maybe just plan it out. But I see that in your future, Matt. Last question I'm going to ask you before we let you go, Matt. It's a question that my mom used to ask to me as a child growing up all the time. And I've been asking all the fighters we have on this podcast. We get varying answers. I want to ask you, Matt Brown, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you?
As in like right now on a daily basis
It's up to you however you want to take that question.
Honestly, I would argue that's something that I struggle with. And part of that is happy person, but because I'm such an ambitious person, like nothing's ever good enough for me. And that's something I actually try to focus on to minimize, like, because I should be happier than I am. But I'm always like not like, even after I knock out, last weekend, I'm like, dude, like, he hit me once. Like, I need to be better than that. You know what I mean? Or, want to go do it again or whatever. It's like, okay, on to the next one. Let's go do it again. Fuck that. That doesn't matter. So I think that's like a pro in terms of happiness. It doesn't help your happiness, but in terms of like succeeding things, and I think where I would even say even better is like in terms of fulfillment, like it lowers my fulfillment a lot. So I don't always feel fulfilled very often, but in terms of success, like it's very good for success. And Tony Robbins, speaking of motivational speakers, had a great speech about that with like Robin Williams was his example. Very successful, very unfulfilled, ended up killing himself. And I think I'm probably more on the spectrum of, being fulfilled, and I could probably work on changing that. So that's a long answer to a short question. I think the whole like scale 1 to 10 thing is kind of that's a tough question to answer. I think that's more for like spicy foods and stuff.
How about once you knock out Derek Lewis? I feel like that's going to be the fulfillment.
That would be very fulfilling. But again, so that's what I'm talking about, right? Like it was like everybody's, dude, you got the knockout record. I'm like, well, my first thought is like, well, I don't have the record. Like I'm tied with the record, and I need to fight Derek Lewis now to get the record. And of course, like getting the UFC on board with that's probably gonna be tough. But yeah, so there's again pros and cons, right? And it's served me well in business, right? Because the business is never good enough. I'm always like, we need to do this, we need to do this. But sometimes I think it's healthy to step back and say, like life is pretty fucking good, man. Like this moment, enjoy this day.
Yeah. No, that's a perfect answer, Matt. Like I said, we've been asking people on this podcast for over maybe a couple months now. Every answer we get is different, but a lot of them kind of do take it your way. So I appreciate you saying that, Matt. It's been an absolute honor and a pleasure for having you on the podcast. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Is there anything that you want to say before we let you go?
Oh, I guess the floor is mine. I just hope everybody, if they hear all this stuff, it hopefully can inspire them to do some big things. Like let's go, like let's get off your asses, put down the beer, put down the pretzels and the nachos and shit. Eat some fucking rice and chicken, go do a workout, go for a run, and let's man up.
That's it. Mic drop that, Matt. That's how you end every one of your motivational speeches in the future, Matt. Thank you so much for joining the podcast. We appreciate you. Best of luck. You will have that record one day for sure, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, guys.
Take care. Bye-bye. All righty. There's the man.
I feel motivated. I feel like he says he doesn't think he's going to be a motivational speaker, but wow, like that was awesome. That was so good.
He's motivational in everything that he says and does. I'm glad the way that conversation kind of took off.
Yeah.
Because it was that clip about the Jordan Peterson. It was some of his other speeches that I've talked to. I know that this guy is about being strong and not physically strong.
He's quite eloquent too, right? Like he
is. This is what I mean.
That's the thing. And I remember when I listened, because I just had seen him fight, and I'm like, oh, this guy's going to be a meathead. And then I listened to the joke. I'm like, he actually is very intelligent, and like, he approaches everything with savageness, with everything with ferocity, and I can totally get behind that, right? And
no, I mean, I could have spoken to him forever, like, and gone deeper and deeper, because there is, I'll put up, like, I had this that I was going to share with him, but again, just because of time wise. But here's former guest of the podcast, UFC fighter Sadiq Yusuf. He put on Twitter, and I'm sharing it here for those that are on the video version, but it says, I've seen how martial arts has turned a lot of kids' lives around. I give credit to the teachers who act as excellent role models, but I think there are less martial artists today in combat sports. It's really sad. I feel like some of these gyms are becoming a breeding ground for super villains. There's people that are training to be stronger bullies who want to use their powers for evil, which is an interesting take. And I've seen that myself personally.
Well, like we had someone at the gym where my partner works. We found out one of the boys had been bullying one of the girls, and we kicked him out for like a month. We put him back in kids class because they were teenagers, and like he had to apologize to the girl, apologize to the mom, take a break. And then, we said, you go back to the kids class. You're not going to be an adult. You're not ready to be an adult. And that kid had to grovel to finally get back in. And I'm thinking, like, if you're not doing that as a coach, then you're fucking up, right? Like these are kids, this is so important. And if we're teaching kids who are going to be bullying how to be better bullies, that's completely counterproductive. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing though, right? That's where I think to Sadiq's tweet, and I think to what we were talking about and what Matt's talking about, and him with his Warrior Kids program, which I realized is funny because you're walking with warriors. And he's Warrior Kids program. So you guys do have the
Warrior spirit. Yeah.
The link there. But to Sadiq's point, to that tweet's point, it's up to the coaches to realize what the students are doing, right? And it's also the environment that you're encouraging or producing or creating in your gym, because there's always going to be kids that come in because they just want to learn how to fight or because they want to be bullies. But it's up for the organizers of the gym trainers, the senseis, the whatever you want to call them. You have to weed that crap out and fix that in society, right? That's your job. That's your role.
I'm just picturing this kid like filling out the form. Like, why do you want to do martial arts? Like, I want to be a better bully. I want to really inspire fear.
I really want to improve my bullying.
Yeah, I want a harder punch when I'm hurting someone smaller.
Yeah. I really find it hard punching people that are so much smaller than me. So what's the technique?
I need to learn the accuracy so I can do it.
Yeah.
But like it exists in adults too, man. And like this,
of course,
maybe a bit off topic, but like I remember I was seeing a physio and he was like in great shape, and I was asking him like, oh, have you ever tried martial arts? And he told me he went to a gym once and they basically pulled him in and they're like, oh, like, let's do sparring, like on his first day. And he's like, they just beat me up. Like the guy, like even demoed and showed, and he's like, I never went back. And I'm like, I'm so sorry that happened to you. For A, you had a negative experience with martial arts, which you never want anyone to have. And then B, like that person's a bully. That person is doing this because they're power tripping. And I wonder if they started when they were young, or, and then that was in them and that just developed and no one caught it. And now they're a really well-trained bully, or somebody who starts as an adult, right? So like it's so on the coaches, I think, and the parents too. But like the coaches, when you're there, is to the intentions of people and keeping your eyes on the mat and seeing how people are representing your gym.
Yeah, no. And I think that's to Sadiq's tweet as well, which is like, it's not it's that it's become a business as well. Like, whereas martial arts, when I was growing up, my sensei was like hardcore, he was doing it to pass on the tradition and to pass on the techniques and whatever. And it was hardcore. Now there's a lot of commercial gyms. And those commercial gyms, you don't know who they're run by. There's no lineage. There's no whatever. It's just, hey, I saw an open warehouse and I thought I'd start a business.
Yeah.
And then if that proper culture and behavior isn't there, like that's what you have to watch out for. But look, if you're in Ohio,
So do something Canadian, man. I'm just
no, but if you're okay, but I'm saying if you're in Ohio, go to Matt Brown's gym.
Okay.
God damn, that's got to be a good gym, I'll tell you. If you're here on the podcast because of Matt Brown, thank you so much for showing up and watching and listening. Check out all our podcasts in the back. I think this is episode 120. So you've got a lot to catch up on if this is your first time. If you're a regular viewer or listener, thank you so much. I'll give a quick friends of the podcast update. Rageworks Podcast Network. We're on there at rageworksnetwork.com. So thank you to them, and go check out their stuff if you want other podcasts to listen to. Lupi Godinez. She won on the weekend on another short notice fight, kicking ass. So happy for Lupi. And then next week on the podcast, I believe as a guest, we have Jade Mason Wong, who is just coming off her BKFC victory against Taylor Starling. Beautiful fight if you did not watch it. But next week we should have Canadian Jade Mason Wong.
Total babe, total badass. I will be tuning in for that one. If
yeah.
you need co-host, let me know.
you know her, right? You know her?
My friend Jamie Horth fought her, and I've just kind of followed her career since then. And I think she's super cool. I think she's an amazing fighter, and yeah, she has a really fun social media presence. So I really enjoy watching her. And clean knockdown. I was saying to you earlier, Timmy, I'm like, if that was MMA, it's like, oh, fight's over. That was like, we're done.
Beautiful highlights. So yeah, we will speak to her and see what she's all about. She's Canadian. I didn't know that until
French. I think from Quebec.
Yeah, French Canadian from Quebec. So yeah. Wait, you say it with a very proper French Canadian accent when you say her name.
Jade Messon. Yes, I believe that's out.
But is it that she's married to a Chinese guy?
I think
where does the Wong come from?
Mixed heritage. I think she's mixed heritage, but like I've heard when she said it, she says it because I used to just say like Mason Wong, but then she would say like Masson Wong. So I guess that's
okay, all right.
Yes, pinky out way to say it.
Yeah. All right, a couple of things we're going to talk about on the podcast today. First thing is there's an announcement about Conor McGregor. Spoke about him a little bit.
Yeah.
Fighting Michael Chandler, but they have no idea what's happening. He's not.
Look at his head. Oh my God. He's so huge now.
Okay. Well, we know the way you get a big head. Why? Okay. So Alana Cook, why is he not in the goddamn USADA testing pool yet?
They haven't built the cup that won't melt when it holds his urine. I don't think they're still working on that cup.
They need a titanium cup.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's so fucking stupid, right? The only reason he's not in the USADA testing pool is because he's still weaning off the steroids. that he obviously is taking to look that big for his skull to grow like 7 sizes.
Literally. Yeah.
But
Like,
isn't that so freaking disgusting for the sport, like specifically for UFC that prides itself on the cleanliness and the USADA and all that? Like, it's bullshit that you sign this guy on to do the season of tough and don't have him immediately go in the USADA testing pool so that by the end of this goddamn show, there's actually a fight to watch.
It's interesting because Matt Brown actually said this on another podcast I was listening to, and he was talking about that, and he said the thing with USADA is if you're rich enough, you can beat it. Like all it is like thinking like, well, you could just like not cheat, but the thing with USADA is like it's the poor man's fighter or people who are doing steroids that don't have a ton of money. They can't beat it, but people like Conor McGregor who have so much money, like they've got private doctors, they've got people that can help him beat it. Like it's, it's not an issue for him. Is he a billionaire now? I think he just announced he's a billionaire. So, dude, like find a doctor that's gonna. I'm sure I'm not a medical expert, but I'm sure with that much money you can beat that. So,
but it's the fact that USADA is supposed to be able to knock on your door 24/7.
Yeah, I wonder is it because he's not in the country, or
no, because everybody around the world is still on USADA. It's the fact that no matter how rich you are, if you inject it and then 2 seconds later they're at your door, you can't hide it then. So I mean, there's got to be, even if you're the richest in the world, I mean, if they're there while you're getting your injection of TRT, right? They'll be like, oh, what the hell's that? I mean, it just seems so stupid and so much Dana White privilege that this guy, you sign him to do the season of tough with no idea when this guy's going to fight. And quite frankly, like poor Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler's sitting here thinking he got red panty night. He's got the fight with Conor, which is a very winnable fight for Michael Chandler, I think. Like, I don't think
he's such a gangster. He'll like always take it. Did you watch the preview for Tough?
No, I didn't even know there's one yet.
Yeah, I just found it. It's just like it's like a 1 minute thing on YouTube, and it kind of ends with Conor McGregor like in his face, giving him like the 2-handed push and just being classic McGregor. It's like, all right, well they can't not fight. Like seeing this, like they can't not fight. It is clearly, and even in the background, they're saying Conor's long awaited return to the octagon. So
yeah, but but to be fair, that's because they filmed this, I think, like months ago, right? Like I think I know some people that are on it or new people that are on it. So this was filmed months ago. At that time, you're thinking, tomorrow Conor will be in the pool. Tomorrow Conor will be in the pool. It's fucking, the season's almost airing and he's still not in the pool. And you have to be in the USADA testing pool for, 6 months and have 2 negative tests during that time.
Oh, is that what it is? It's 6 months, eh?
Yeah. So like right now we're sitting here almost in June. That means he's not fighting this year.
No. Yeah.
Unless you make some sort of weird accommodation for him, which again would not be polite.
So what's the point of USADA for making accommodations?
Well, I think the only person they ever made accommodation for was Brock Lesnar. And I think that was a problem. But
I think that was a problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, have you seen? I haven't seen all of it, but I just watched a few clips on Netflix. The new show about Conor McGregor.
No, I have not.
It's very interesting. It's quite interesting, actually, and it does leave it kind of ambiguous. I'm about halfway through, and he's still training. He still trains a lot, right? But yeah, I don't know if he's going to fight again.
Wait. So there's 4 episodes, right? I think. And so you've watched 2 of them?
Yeah, I've watched 2 kind of in it, like while I'm cooking. Like I haven't been sitting down and kind of watching it, but yeah, he talks. He thought that when he broke his ankle, he's like, that was a career ender. He's like, that was why he kind of turned it on in the cage and was like, this isn't over, because in his brain he's like, I think I'm done. Like I think this is going to end it. So he was really trying to hype it up.
So let me disrespect someone's wife on my way out. This fucking guy.
Just him getting carried out on the stretcher like this, like that is iconic.
So okay, I haven't watched it at all. I'm very worried that this show is just a fluff piece on him. Like, does it cast him in any negative light, or is this just?
No, not really. It's pretty pro Conor, I would say.
See, that's fun. I hate that crap. No.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not. that's why I'm not too keen to watch it, because I'm like, if this is just a McGregor sponsored commercial,
it humanizes him though. Like it does show him like after he
yeah, but
lost.
that's good for him.
Yeah, I guess that is good.
But this guy's
Or
a
does he
dirtbag.
want that though? Because his brand is so like big and flashy. Like it really kind of showed him after he lost the dejection, and maybe that will make people like him more though.
Yeah, I think that makes humanizing someone should never be a bad idea.
I don't want him to be human. I want him to be a symbol. I want.
But see, this is why I'm not watching it, in all honesty, because I don't need 4 episodes of just McGregor fluff to tell me what a good guy this is, when we know he's fucking knocking out old men in bars, throwing women off yachts. Like I want to give me a balanced look at him. Like, tell me the good stuff, tell me the bad stuff, and then let me make the decision. I don't like when they force the decision upon you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like those. We were watching the I was watching the embedded for slightly changed for when Cyril Gahn was fighting John Jones.
Yeah.
They don't mention Francis Ngannou at all.
Oh yeah. No.
It was so funny. They're like, and then Cyril fought for the championship belt. And I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm like, not even his name, not a clip. No. The guy is just completely like do not mention, and it's pretty wild. Like when the UFC likes you, you get the nice Netflix special. When the UFC doesn't like you, you're stripped from the records, right? So
we talked a lot about the Ngannou contract last week on the podcast, and then we were pretty on par with a lot of the stuff that Dana was saying and things, because I don't think Ngannou ever fights for PFL. I think it's all a hoax. They can't afford it. I think they just have him now there. They've already got the benefit. Maybe he can grow PFL Africa or whatever the hell they want to do. But to pay him $8 million plus his opponent $2 million, he's in the super fight series, which means he's not even in their real heavyweight division. He's just going to fight like randoms or something. I don't know that they ever see the
$2 million. So I'll take one good Ngannou punch and just retire.
But it's funny because PFL came out arguing against Dana on that, and they were like, you saying that we're not going to accomplish whatever, that's like when Blockbuster said Netflix will never be anything, blah blah blah, or something like that, like comparing like famous last words kind of idea. And I'm
Isn't PFL wanting to buy Bellator too? Yeah, so they're making big moves. They want to make big moves.
But is that okay? But hold on, is that a big move? Why wouldn't you just beat them out and let them fold? Why would you buy them? What's the point? Why buy them? If they're going to fold, let them fold. And then you'd be able to pick up all their athletes for cheap anyways.
I know, it's just kind of a power move, right? Just kind of showing like I can do this. We got so much money and like, look, we're just going to do this, right? So
I guess. I don't even know that. I don't know. I bought the PFL Upper Deck card set. So, I've already spent my $20 and help pay for.
Already got your product placement right there.
You're part of Francis Ngannou's contract. Anyway, I don't know about all that. Okay, the next thing that we were going to talk about was the new BMF title. The new BMF title is being fought for by Dustin Poirier and Gaethje. What do you think about that?
I think the BMF belt is like this. I just hope I never meet Dana White at this point when I say that. But I just think it's the silliest thing. Like, I don't know, man. But you know what? If we're gonna go along that thread, I think Matt Brown. Yeah, I think that definitely like his first. I don't know if Dustin Poirier. I don't know if we're going for that bad boy kind of thing or that Stone Cold. Yeah, I feel like Matt Brown would be a better fit than Dustin Poirier. But
well, exactly. That was one of my points that I've been posting around when they nominated or when they announced this fight. I'm like, isn't BMF more about like who you are, like the embodiment of a badass motherfucker?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't look at Gaethje with his nerdy glasses and his calm demeanor. And call him a BMF. I wouldn't look at Dustin Poirier with his perfect haircut and his nice family life and go, well,
give me Tony Ferguson versus Matt Brown. I feel like that's way more on brand.
Give me Matt Brown. Give me Tony Ferguson. Give me Bobby Green. Give me give me anyone that exudes like a bravado about them, right?
Right. Yeah. Some sort of just like, yeah, that image to them.
I don't know. It just seems weird that that is how it is. What do you think?
Yeah, they should cut like it could be the NF, the nice motherfucker.
Well, they've always talked about that, about having an NMF title, which was
Yeah.
supposed to be Wonder Boy,
Oh
Stephen
yeah,
Thompson.
he would be. He is an NMF. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, they always said that Wonder Boy should be the NMF. But okay, here's the biggest problem with this BMF title. If, let's say, Gaethje or Poirier wins it, right? So then you win the BMF title.
Oh, this is the interim BMF title, I guess, right? It
No,
has
it's
not formally
not.
been vacated yet. This is just
No.
the interim BMF title.
God, to lower the value of this title anymore, now you're going to call it interim BMF. So you win this title, right? So let's say Poirier wins it. He wins the title. Now he's the BMF. His next fight has to be for the title, right? Like for the lightweight title.
Mm-hmm.
So
Does he
then
come out with 2 belts?
So then you go on, you win. Okay, so then here's the thing that happens. You either then win the lightweight title, and now you've got both. And then your next fight, are you defending both? Like, does this now, did the 2 titles just merge? Like, what the hell happens with that? Or do you just defend the title and then you keep the BMF to defend later, which is so stupid because then another guy just beats you.
Keep the BMF to defend later. It's just hearing.
Okay, but this is the okay. Or get this, you're Dustin Poirier, you win the BMF, then you fight for the title, the lightweight title, and then you lose. So then now you go off and you've kept your BMF title, but you just lost to a guy. Like, this title will lose its value immediately.
Does it have any value currently? Like, that's.
I guess not. I guess not, but people have been arguing online saying that this BMF title needs to be defended. If you want this title to look cool at all in any way.
Well, I think it came about. I can't quite remember, but it came about at a time when like no one was like, it was like a weird lull where no one could defend their belt. Like people were either injured or someone was often like it was noticeable.
Right.
They were like, someone needs to fight for a belt, any belt. Let's just create a new belt.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do think it cheapens the sport because if anyone can get a belt, then what's the value of it, right? So it's
yeah. It's just stupid. I don't get why these guys need it. Like, that's the other thing. I don't know why these guys need it. They're already at the top. They're already fighting for the division belt. I don't know why you need to create this prop for these guys, and they don't even embody a BMF in and of itself.
Yeah. Like, you think you go to like Gaethje's house and he's got his interim title belt, and beside it he's like, oh, and of equal value on the mantelpiece is my coveted BMF belt that I hold so like it's probably like in a back room somewhere in the storage bin. Like, I don't think he has that on this. He's gonna have that on display.
Yeah, like it made sense when it was Nate and Jorge because they embody that lifestyle. And I could see them holding that title. That was a kind of as a joke, but kind of as like, yeah, fuck, I am the BMF, whatever. But I don't see Dustin Poirier caring about it, and I don't see Gaethje caring about it. That's why put it down to some of these other dudes that are fucking crazy fighters that more embody that spirit. Like, I would have loved to see Bobby Green fight for that.
Just going to like elementary schools after, being like, the winner of the BMF belt is to out with the children.
Yeah. Like, just kick ass. I don't know. That thing is so stupid to me, but I guess we'll see what happens with that. People are upset. They're saying that the only reason for that, obviously, like you said from before, was because they needed a title fight on whatever pay-per-view that was a million years ago. And I guess same thing now. Like, they're short a title fight for whatever card this is. And they're like, well, I guess we'll just make this fight for the BMF. Like, yeah. Or it's also their weird mentality that you feel you need a title fight on every card.
Who would you see for a women's BMF?
Aside from Alana Cook?
Yes, sir. I'd almost say like Cyborg and Amanda Nunes run it back.
Yeah,
Like
they'll never run
those are
it.
two, but they don't really have that bad girl image. You know what I
No.
mean? Like it's
Chelsea Chandler, who's from
Mm.
Stockton. Have you seen her? Have you met her?
I think I saw her on The Interview, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
She's got badass attitude. Chelsea Chandler would be one.
Helena Pereira, she's not in the UFC, but like she's
Peralta.
Helen Peralta. Yeah,
Helen Peralta, yeah.
she's got
Yeah.
that energy. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be yeah.
Who else?
I know.
Like
Roxanne Modafari would have been the nice motherfucker. What we said?
yeah, undefeated NMF.
Exactly. No challenge. No one wants to fight her for that. It's just too nice.
Do you know? Okay, we're way late into the podcast now, so most people have tuned out, Elena.
It's just you and me. Yeah.
The one person in my life that I really wish I could spar would be Roxanne Modafari. Because her style is so weird.
It is.
And it's so herky jerky. I would love to just, I'm not like spar, like friendly sparring, whatever. I'd love to just see how that is.
Yeah. Because, see if like the fire comes in her eyes, or like see how,
just see how awkward her movement is and stuff like that. Because like Dominic Cruz, Tim Elliott, all the people with the weird, awkward style as well.
You know what? It's hard to plan for, right? Like someone who's got a bit of like, it's hard to find a sparring partner that you got to get someone who can mimic this style, right? It is very hard. Like people will like maybe talk shit like, oh, they got a weird, but it's hard to plan that stuff. Oh, Sean Strickland for the BMF.
Sean Strickland, yep. There's a go. Okay, but you were saying females.
Yeah, I know. Just that one popped into my head. I'm like, I just remember because my boyfriend Keenan was like, that's one guy I would love to spar, Sean Strickland, or just to know if he's exactly how he appears to be.
I don't know. I mean, Sean Strickland, you can follow him on Instagram, and he just beats up random people all the time.
He's like, I'm not going to be on anyone's highlight reel. I'm going to fuck.
Yeah, no, I don't know. That dude is crazy. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Put Sean Strickland up against someone and have him be the BMF title. Like, yeah, there's got to be other people. Anyways,
I'm gonna message you after. Maybe that can be the next thing. Who should be the female BMF or the true BMF? But.
Yeah, you have to think about who has that attitude. Manon Fiorot, the French girl, she's pretty cool. Like she's kind of got like a.
I don't know too much about her personality, but when I saw her fight Caitlin Chukagian, like before the fight started, I was like, she's gonna win this, and she is going to fight for the title.
Yeah.
I think she's injured right now, but yeah, she's a phenomenal fighter.
Yeah, she's good. She's got like a killer instinct. Yeah, you want girls that have that killer instinct and that like have it in their demeanor. Yeah. You know, like someone who definitely does not would be Karolina Kowalkiewicz. She's such a
the little Polish girl. Yeah, she's so cute. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's always just got such a good personality.
Yeah, she's kind of like stays and like gives a little wink and like she's adorable.
Yeah. She's not a BMF. But all right,
NMF.
We're coming down. Yeah, NMF. It's easier for us to find fighters for the NMF than it is the BMF, right? Which speaks very highly to martial arts training. That's the whole point of it, right? Is that you go in and you're not supposed to just
leading back, no bullies. Yeah, we don't like bullies. Awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Before we end this off, I do want to say thank you so much to you for coming on and helping me out. I really, really appreciate you coming on. People loved your last appearance. They were so happy to meet you. What is in store for you? What's in store for the Alanimal in the near future? Any news?
Yeah, well, I broke my nose in my last fight, unfortunately. So I know people have been like, oh, like when did you win in the fight? I'm like, well, sometime between the 1st and the 17th elbow to the face is probably when it broke. So no, it was a really good fight. Me and Jackie were messaging.
It was an awesome fight.
Yeah,
fuck, it was a good fight.
It was a great, and I messaged her and I was like, oh, you broke my nose. She's like, you gave me stitches. We're like, nice, like respect. Yeah, so I'm just still healing up. I still have like a few like nagging things. I did a jiu-jitsu tournament last weekend and I got second in the pro division, which was really cool because I'm just a blue belt and I jumped up, so I was against like all like purple up to black belts. So
nice.
Yeah, I did well. I think I just want to do a few things, just a bit more competition experience, because that fight was my first competition since my surgery, and I did feel like a little bit of ring rust. So I think I'm still training hard. Just still have a few like little injuries. I'm babying a bit, but just do a few minor competitions, and then I'm hoping get back in there by the end of the summer because we ain't done. We ain't close to being done, man.
Wait, hold on. That's very quick then. Like,
end of the summer? That's not that.
That's
quick.
like just a few months.
Oh.
Like, yeah, that's just a few months. That's pretty close. All right. Well, we'll keep an eye for that.
Goes.
The last time you were on as well, we talked about your walking like warriors.
Yeah, walking like warriors. Yeah.
We talked about it, and then you didn't say, but you had something like almost like the week right after you had an event. Do you have any new things with walking like warriors coming up?
We've done a few. I'm working with a female Indigenous lacrosse team next Saturday. We're going to do the Walking Like Warriors program with them. So that's awesome. A few things for the summer. I am so busy with so many things. So we try and fit it in when we can. But I love it. It's like what did Matt say, right? He was saying like, I'm so happy, but I'm also like ambitious, right? Like so I'm always on the pursuit of things, right? So I've always got things on the go, but that's what keeps me happy, right? Never being settled.
Yeah, nice. No, and you know what? We started asking that question, I swear, it might have been the week after you. So next time we have you on, I'm going to ask you that question as well, the scale of 1 to 10. We didn't ask you that, right?
I can't remember, honestly.
No, I don't think we did.
I was wondering that when you asked him, like, did I?
No, I don't think we did. But that's been a question that we've been asking, and people have really been giving like very cool answers. Like,
very thoughtful. Yeah.
Like Matt's answer. And you hit them out of nowhere with that. And then you see what kind of answer. So I really appreciated Matt's
They just start crying.
I'm never happy. Yeah. All right. So that is the end of the podcast. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Before we say goodbye, I do want to say, please do follow and subscribe, do all that stuff. We don't say that because we just assume people know to do that if you like us. Alana, all the best. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day. I really appreciate you coming out.
Awesome. Thanks, Timmy.
All right.
See you later.